Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Isaiah Norris. I am an administrator here with the City of Tucson Housing and Community Development. I want to welcome you all to the Resident Advisory Board meeting. Just a few quick notes. We'll be recording the meeting so that it'll be posted online at a later point in time as well. But for interpretation services, we have ASL that is online here. And then for the folks in the building here, the back left, if you are in need of Spanish interpretation, you can sit back there on the left-hand side of the room.
I'm here for now.
So I'm going to give it just a quick minute as we have a couple more people signing in, and then we will get started with the meeting. Okay, so before we kind of get started with the official meeting, we have Liz Morales, our Assistant City Manager here, who's going to give us a few words. Liz?
Hi, everyone. This is fabulous. First of all, that all of you are here and engaged. The reason I'm here, I have another meeting that I'm here an hour early, and I was super excited to see that this meeting was happening at the same time. So I'm like, what a better use of my time than joining you all. I used to be the director for housing, and I ran the Section 8 program for City of Phoenix for several years. I've always worked in housing and homelessness, so this was really important to me. And now, even though I'm in my role in the city manager's office, this is what matters, because the work that we do here is what really is critical to the community, providing safe, stable, and affordable housing. So I'm going to just sit, observe for the next hour, hear what you guys all have to say, your questions. It just helps me stay more connected and informed to what is happening here in Tucson. And I just want to give a big thanks to the staff here that really are trying to really advance the work that we, the mayor and council, and really what our community needs. So please feel empowered to share your hearts, your thoughts, and again, just taking time out of your day is so valuable. So thank you. And just sorry, I just crashed your party, but just wanted to let you know how much I value. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Person's gotta find a seat. We got a full house today, so we'll get started here and try to get through kind of the presentation as quickly as we can, as in depth as we can, and then allowing time for questions at the end. All right, everyone. So welcome again. My name is Isaiah Norris. I'm the administrator for the Housing Choice Voucher Program here at Housing and Community Development. Along with me, we have Selena Tibbs, who is the administrator over public housing and low-income housing. And then Vanessa Gonzalez, who's our MC, kind of keeping track of everything going on online. And again, our Assistant City Manager, Liz Morales, who gave us a few words there. But let's kind of jump right into it. So I'm going to get into a few housekeeping things. So just to make it clear, we are all here for the Resident Advisory Board meeting, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost messed it up, guys. So when we look at kind of our structure here and how things operate for the Housing Authority, we have our Board of Commissioners, and that's mayor and council plus one. And that plus one is somebody from our Housing Choice Voucher Program or public housing. And just recently, there was a transition there, and we have a new resident commissioner. Her name is Tristan. If you want to wait for the crowd. So she is a voice for home, when it comes to our board of commissioner meetings that we hold quarterly. So she's up there with mayor and council, kind of going over the information that us as the housing authority present, anything, any new updates, anything that we're looking to change or do. She will be a part of that conversation and those decisions that are being made. So welcome, Tristan, to, we want to thank you for being a part of, the board of commissioners.
Thank you.
Would you like to share a few words? Okay, go on up.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's good that we had such a good turnout today. I'm excited to be here. I'm gonna say maybe about 2 years ago, I was sitting in that third table there to the right. And I was getting my voucher for housing. So there was a lot of things that I didn't understand. And I'm still learning. I'm excited because I've experienced a lot of different things on my road to getting housing, stable housing. And there's been a lot of new programs that have been implemented. So I'm learning about all those things, but I definitely am excited to be able to reach back. And I wanted to say this because I know that it's a tough time that we're living in. So what I do want to encourage all of you is, and I know that we're all in probably different phases and understanding different programs that are available, that are being made to us. I would say the most important thing is to definitely educate yourself. Coming out to this meeting, and there's different programs that are offered that you won't know about. Educate yourself. Look at things that, you know, if you go over to this office or next door here, and look at the flyers that are available, the events that are going on, all the programs that are offered, because with your low income housing like I am, it's very tough because you have to find different avenues to become successful in whatever your housing goals are. And so that's what I'm continuously doing because I want the best for my family. And I believe that that's what you're here for and yourselves. So there are programs that are available. There are people that want to help. Try your best not to get frustrated, because getting frustrated and stagnant and stopping your growth financially or with jobs or with housing, it's only going to stop you. It's not going to stop these programs from helping people that want to continue to progress and continue to do things to better their lives. So I would say everything is not going to work out in your favor all the time. That's just not how life works. But I would encourage you to stay encouraged and continue to look for different programs and find your niche, find out what is going to help you be successful in your goals. That's the most important. I know it gets tough and you get down. I encourage you all to get back up. There are still things that are available. There are people that want to help, and there are people that are put in place to help. They can't do everything. That's why there's so many different programs. And everybody's pretty much working towards the same goal. There's people here that want to help. And you have to find those people. That means you have to keep moving forward. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do. So that's what I want to say to you all today.
Thank you for those wanting to Kristen. Now I'll get to, I was in a rush, so now I'll get to the meat and potatoes. Thank you, Tristan. So let's kind of discuss why we're here. So we are here to discuss some just overview of the updates that we are making to our administrative plan on the housing choice voucher side, as well as an update to our annual plan for the department. You'll also have the opportunity to ask questions at the end about anything that we're discussing. And on that note, we're gonna kind of get into some just reminders and kind of housekeeping, right? So I just ask that you hold all your questions until the end of the presentation. The presentation should move pretty quick. I will say kind of thankfully, we have just a handful of updates that are happening here. So there's not a ton of content to go through. I ask that, you know, everyone here be respectful. Do ask questions regarding the topics that we're discussing. If you have questions or comments about your personal situations, about your voucher, where things are, anything of the sort that's going on personally with your circumstance, I ask that you hold those questions and then get with one of us staff at the end of the presentation after everything is concluded, and we'll try to help you as best we can. Or we're right across the way from our office. You know, we can get you in contact with your housing specialist or someone to assist you further if need be. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna have Selena Tibbetts come up and give us kind of what the update is for the annual plan.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Again, my name is Selena Tibbetts. I'm the administrator for the public housing and municipal. So thank you to all of you who came. See some familiar faces. So just a little bit about the annual plan. So the annual plan has already been in place and approved. This is just a change and an update to the planning. So basically, the new activity is permitting the disposition of a Tucson house, Craycroft Towers, and 216 of our public housing scattered sites. So this is what is only going to involve, and through the RAB program, which we call the Rental Assistance Demonstration Platform program. Okay. So part of the rental assistance demonstration, so the Board of Commissioners, which includes our mayor and council, previously approved disposition of the Tucson house, as many of you may know, many that live there already. Through the Section 18, one of the multiple options of the asset repositioning for HUD. And after consulting with HUD, HUD made the recommendation to dispose of the Tucson house and other of our housing programs to Section 18 rental assistance, which is the RAB program. So in addition to Tucson house, it also will include Craycroft Towers, which is located off of Pima and Craycroft. There's 74 units there, and then we have our 216 single-family scatter sites units. So basically what that means is we will be transitioning from public housing to the RAB program. What that means for residents is you'll still remain at your unit, but you would be under our HCD program, which is the Section 8 program. You would have to qualify for that program, but the rental amount would stay the same as what you're paying now, the 30%. Okay. So HCD, we have conducted several community meetings informing our scattered sites of this change, upcoming change. We held about 5 community meetings all throughout Tucson with community engagement to get their involvement and help answer any questions that they may have. Really was targeted to those scattered sites, right? The 216. So we scheduled these meetings and provided them information on what that looks like for the future for them. And this is just basically putting all that into this plan. Go ahead. And I can help answer questions at the end. Well,
all right, so next we have kind of what the updates for the administrative plan. So this is the plan that guides the Housing Choice Voucher Program. So there are a number of items that we are updating for our annual plan, for our administrative plan, I'm sorry. That includes, we will continue to have some additional language changes. HOPMA is Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act. It's just new policies that HUD has been rolling out since around 2016. And as we get closer and closer to that implementation of it, we are adding language that is suggested. So we have some additional, some changes there. We are updating information regarding our family debt and repayment agreements. as well as information around our emergency housing vouchers and adding some streamlining languages. Emergency housing vouchers were a type of voucher that kind of existed around the COVID years, and they're kind of trickling out now. And so there's language that we needed to add there to ensure that those services are able to continue. We also have some updates to languages and policies around special housing types, in particular shared housing, which has been kind of talk in the community about making that option more available where possible. We also have language that's kind of been updated and added around the housing authority's ability to limit moves for voucher holders. This probably seems the scariest in its form, but really it is just updated policies and procedures for instances where funding levels drop for some reason, whether through the budget cycle, anything of that sort. And we have more availability to best serve those that we are providing vouchers for. And then we have just some general updated definitions in our glossary for the administrative plan. And that again is kind of tied to the HOTMA changes in languages where the federal government changed the definition of things. So we just update those definitions in our plan as well. It was going to be a quick in terms of the update. There was not a ton, even though they seem minimal, they are still impactful, which is why we go through kind of this entire exercise with the resident advisory board meeting, taking it to mayor and council, because they still have an effect on our programs, our policies, procedures at times. And so this is just kind of the standard way that we go about having a review of all this information through our board of commissioners, as well as on the tail end by Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. So where we are in the process now, so in August, we posted the 45-day notice comment period and then put the information out for this meeting for all folks to attend. So we have the RAB meeting today. October 8th is the next Board of Commissioners gathering, and that's where they will discuss these items, approve them, have discussion on them, move them forward. And then after the Board of Commissioners review and approval, then we submit all that information and the approvals to HUD for final approval. And then we would anticipate these changes taking effect. Some will kind of take effect now, but we look at that, they'll take effect in January of 2026, essentially. But it is just to inform, the whole process is to inform the community, our residents, our participants, as well as our board of commissioners and our HUD field office, so that everybody at every level knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how it impacts the housing authority as a whole. So we have a good number of people online, as well as in the building. I'm really glad to see so many people here. But this is the email that you can email us. I don't expect you to remember all of your questions now, but at any point in time, between now and forever, this is the email address that you can utilize to get questions to us, get those answered, and as well as give us some feedback if needed. Yep, so we have the email address is hcdadmin@tucsonaz.gov. And the phone number is 520-837-5322.
You got this written on paper, right?
Based on one of the handouts, yes.
Is it on there?
Yes.
So I will leave it here, but now we've kind of come to the part of our presentation where if you have questions, comments, feedbacks, we're happy to hear it. I just want to remind everybody, we really want to take the questions, comments, or feedback about kind of the items that we discussed today and what's on your handouts. Any personal matters, just stay behind after we conclude the meeting, and then we will do our best to address them then. What in the front?
Regarding the updates in language for in the people's choice in housing, not, does that mean that what it was saying is that, and I don't understand for sure, is that you're gonna be reevaluating where we're living, and if it costs too much, you're gonna tell us to move. Is that what that means?
So the question is about the the updated policy, if I'm understanding correctly, the updated policy about limiting moves for voucher holders. Is that correct?
Yes, Section 8 voucher holders that are at choice, they found an apartment complex that accepts their Section 8. You've been working with them for years, and then all of a sudden, you're saying that there might be a lower amount of money that's gonna be allowed, and then you're gonna have to move. Is that
No, so this policy, the reason for this policy change or update is in a scenario where things are kind of going as usual and the housing authority loses a funding source, or HUD comes through, or Congress comes through and says, hey, we're cutting funding levels. And then we have to kind of figure out how to manage our finances from then on. So in which case, we would say, hey, if you were in the scenario where you're in a place, you're successfully housed, and you wanted to move somewhere that was more expensive, the housing authority would have the authority and the ability to say, hey, you kind of have to sit still where you are. You can't go to somewhere that's higher because we don't have the funding to support you going to.
But not the other direction.
No, not the other direction.
Because if we're happy where we're at, we just don't want to move, because it takes a lot to move.
No, it's based
No
on.
bearing on that at all.
It's kind of a scenario.
You've already been approved, you've been getting paid through Section 8, you're working with them, and you've got your amount that you get each month help, then we're good.
Yep, if you're successfully housed, it will not affect you unless you're trying to move. Funding was cut and you're trying to move to a more expensive area where the housing authority would be paying more for it. Then we would have the ability to say, hey, you kind of have to stay where you're at until we figure out the funding.
Otherwise, also, if the apartment complex raises money, they can only raise it a certain amount. Isn't that still a law as
Yeah,
well?
they still have the ability to, once a year, request a rental increase. And those are always under review by the housing authority when we get those.
Then we can lose the possibility of losing our places.
No, in those scenarios, we're usually gonna kind of build that into what we're looking at, but we wouldn't have you voluntarily move to somewhere higher price. And that's where the policy comes in.
Because we can't control the market.
Exactly. Thank you for the question. And back here?
Yes, sir. I don't understand the true meaning of RAD versus Section 8. Is there one entity or two entities?
So the question is not really understanding the difference between, you said Section 8, but I believe you mean Section 18.
Well,
So-
I have a voucher. Section 8 voucher, or whatever voucher that I have. So what is that versus the RAD? Is
So,
there two different
yeah, so generally speaking, so what? With RAD and Section 18, these are programs that allow the public housing side to move away from public housing as it traditionally stands into a voucher model. So it changes the funding sources and it makes them, because just to speak generally, public housing is generally underfunded by it's been generally underfunded. And so to maintain public housing is extremely difficult and has been for years. And so what they did to kind of correct that to some degree, they said, hey, we have the RAB, the RAB program, Section 18, so you can move this building that is public housing, change the funding sources and how it operates to a voucher model. So now folks in there, they have the ability, sometimes it's relocation, all these things, but they move into sometimes a project-based model or just a voucher model to better sustain those properties.
I was just.
It is confusing, but yeah, and sometimes it all sounds a little bit the same.
Voucher program. So this RAD thing was something that, I didn't know, you're mentioning RADs, so, it's gotta be these, okay.
So the RAD, currently, the way we're proposing it, the updates is only going to affect the public housing program in those three areas. Tucson House, Craycroft Towers, and the 216 scatter site homes, that those current residents have already been notified for. So if you haven't been involved up until now, that's probably why, because it's not directly affecting you. But this is for your input.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have a question on Tucson House. You brought up Tucson House. And I've been like curious because I know it's a beautiful building, structured inside. I've been in it. And plans, are they gonna remodel that or are they going to, they're not knocking it down, are they?
No.
That's what I'm like, there wasn't enough, so I'm sorry.
So the question is Tucson House gonna be knocked down? No, it is not. It's gonna be fully remodeled inside. And it's gonna be all constructed, new construction, and it's gonna take several years to complete because it is a 17-story high rise. But they will be doing it in phases, while still occupying. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have a voucher, but I did the very thing, the home that I live is one of the homes that they're talking about.
So if you're not sure if you're one of the homes, then please stay back and we can have a conversation and I can confirm that with you. Okay?
How do you get the vouchers? I don't have a voucher.
Right, so if you are currently in the public housing program or are interested in the Section 8 voucher, you would be is that? Okay, you can apply in line through the waitlist, and we can give you that information after the meeting. Hold on a second. Question, right? So the question is your current status in public housing, and they want to confirm it, that's one of the 2016. Just take that after the meeting, and we'll go back then. Yes.
Is the question, is the section 8 for the person that asked that, is the section 8 housing wait list, is it still inactive or is it in pause mode?
So the question is the Section 8 wait list still active or the pause? The Section 8 wait list is still currently open. However, we are not currently in a position to issue new vouchers. And so there's a pause on voucher issuance, but the ability to apply to the wait list is still open.
Do you have an idea when it's gonna be unpaused?
I do not have a timeline right now on how long before we start reissuing vouchers.
We heard that, they were gonna, redo Landers.
So the question is she had heard that they were gonna be redoing Landers. Lander Gardens is using the public housing portfolio. So at this point, that is not part of this RAB transition. It'll continue to be under public housing.
Well,
Yes,
they will,
at this point, there hasn't been any conversation of that converting in the near future. But we will.
I keep going around Landers.
Rooming doesn't shut down, they make it every year. They're usually price or doesn't have planning from the because it goes for this, we have this because of those policies and of all the cuts that he's doing. Silver, forget, well, we know there's gonna be government cuts they do every year. Should we decide to cut that or slash our funding? Where does that leave us? Because especially Section 8, it is in the air, it has been for about 6 months now. Right? I already been giving it straight. That's why Section 8, they're not doing new vouchers. Well, you know, doing the holding back. Any event that they should cut, where we promised they would. Now, on that West Point, it's supposed to be at 30 years already locked in due to contract. I'm aware of that. I don't know if you are or not. But that's what I've been told. I don't know if that's much, we don't wanna lie. I need to know for sure, because I was up there, I'm 100% disabled, I have zero income. And, I wouldn't like to leave on the streets.
So the general question was with federal budgets and no federal budget being approved as of yet, they're kind of on this continuing resolution and that whole track, which they've done in recent years as well. What happens if there is a cut in program funding? One thing I will say, one of the major things I'll say to this is, it is business as usual for as long as it's business as usual, right? So I never really want to speculate on what can happen because we really don't know, and there's no sense in kind of getting into. Yeah, as long as they continue it, you know, our funding levels will kind of stay where they are until they actually pass a budget, and then we know for sure if there are any reductions. But as soon as we kind of find out, then we're kind of looking forward, that would be for the next fiscal year. But our funding levels for the time will remain where they are. And then we would work to kind of plan ahead as much as possible for any reductions, if there are reductions, and in any federal, in the federal budget. But it's one of those scenarios where we know and you know. And so, but as if anything were to happen, you would have communication from the housing authority as to, yeah, as to what's happening and kind of what our plan of action is to kind of put everything at ease. Back here, Matt?
I have a voucher already, and my lease is up in January. I still have the voucher for that.
What was the last
Still
part?
has the voucher after January. He's on a voucher now. He wants to know if he's still gonna have it because his lease is up in January. He wants to know, will he still have his voucher?
Yes, yeah, for voucher holders, that is, the question is if his lease is up coming on, this is just kind of a general, usually I will say, hey, but this is a generalized question, so I'll definitely answer this. Is a voucher is up or a lease is up at the end of the year, do I keep my voucher when my lease is up? Yes, you keep your voucher and you have the option of working with your landlord to renew your lease. Or if you were looking to move somewhere else, you could look to move and you would do that under the voucher.
Speaking of which, on voucher, I have a question. I know that they have vacate notices for you to move out if you decide to move. I've also seen people vacate and not be transferred over and they're out in limbo, no way to get around and they're on the street. Why? I mean, isn't there a way that they can program something for them to be in a place temporary till they move in? Because the paperwork hasn't been completed at the other complex or somebody just slept on their work and didn't get it in. Like, see, my lease is up in October. I haven't heard anything from my manager on me renewing, other than that Section 8 said, if I want to stay there another year, fine. But isn't it their responsibility to contact me? They are the ones that are working in the office.
So again, this is kind of a generalized question, but I think it's a good one, so I definitely want to answer it. And it's around, you know, kind of responsibility and who does what when you're a voucher holder. I will tell you all this, and I hope you take it to heart. Always take the initiative as a voucher holder. Don't wait on the landlord, don't wait on housing. Understand the program, how things operate to the best of your ability. Give us a call, come in, whatever it may be, we are here to help, but always take the initiative. Don't wait on your landlord because they may have different priorities and not worried about you and your situation or whatever the case is, but always take the initiative and say, hey, you know, 90 days before your lease is up, you should say, hey, I should be moving in motion. Am I going to stay? Are they going to renew my lease? Go and have those conversations, take the initiative. And if you don't know what to do, come and ask us in our offices. We will lead you in the right direction.
So call you this on that telephone over there?
Yep. This is one of the numbers you can call, 520-837-5322.
But doing what you're saying, you want to be in communication with your landlord, but you also want to be in communication with you guys in the recertification process, and you would like it 90 days ahead of time. So you have time process, so we want to get it in a month earlier than that, that's great. We're taking initiative in order to process our recertification, and so there's two ends to this thing. One with your landlord, are they gonna raise, you'll work out the rent, if they wanna raise the rent, you'll work out that with them. Our job is, as Section 8 holders, is to recertify within 90 days to give you time to go through the process of investigating our new recertification, make sure we're still qualified.
That makes sense. Yeah. So it was more of a comment just to say, hey, taking initiative is just understanding the process of, recertification and that we're here as a resource at the housing authority for you. And then just taking any additional initiative that you may need on your end. But you had a question earlier.
Yeah, first of all, I want to take the opportunity and let you guys know, I so appreciate the work that you guys do. I'm on Section 8, I have a voucher. And you guys do a good job with what you may or may not. I've done a lot of research on Section 8 all across the country. And Arizona's pretty good considering a lot of other states. Yeah, and I'll be talking with you after I did run into something moving into my current department, but now moving into a 55 and older. And I'll get into that after. There's a definite reason why I need to speak with you after, but I wanted to compliment you guys. You may not hear that enough.
Thank you. So it was a compliment from the crowd for the job that staff here at the Housing Authority does. And I'm going to shameless plug, shout out to my whole crew on Housing Choice Voucher, shout out to the public housing side. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes to make things, to get things operating, to keep things flowing, and our staff do an amazing job. Regardless of the challenges that they face, they do an amazing job. So thank you for that. And we got a couple more questions. Okay, so we'll go here in front and then in the back.
Is it true that with vouchers from the Section 8 housing, you can go to, you can transfer to another state?
So the question is, if you have a Section 8 voucher, can you transfer to another state? I think this is one that, this question usually comes from in most of our resident advisory board meetings. Yes, if you have an Housing Choice voucher, that process is called portability. You have the ability to port to other housing authorities across the United States.
I understand about the funding for the government. I'm I'm a guardian, so I'm on behalf, I was brought up as much as watching, I do want to that. Scattered housing, what I'm understanding is that all the different housing developments offer Section 8, HUD housing, whatever is coming forward, that is the scattered housing thing.
So the scattered sites that we have referenced today are kind of a culmination of maybe single family homes, multi-housing units that are scattered throughout
Oh, yeah.
throughout the city. It's just not like one building like Tucson House.
Right, and I'm watching because I'm getting passionate with you guys, but I don't let it stop. My thing is that, so I know HUD Dash is kind of far in the past. And I'm a guardian for one of those ones that has that. So when the company comes in and they start building those, and they start coming to you guys and they want to build that Section 8 housing, the low income housing, this and that. When they start popping up like this, if we can't get government funding, because we know we have part of that funding for the one that's going over on the Amazon, so that's awesome, right? Because when they have facilities across the land, we can't have. But if these private companies can pop up buildings left and right, how can we ask them to help more people and take some of that blow for the government that's pulling back on everybody? Because the whole point is, right, is when they get here, we want to keep them going forward, whether it's from a tent to a hotel to a house. Because I see what the projects are going on, but I will tell you, I know that I got my brother in the veteran housing and things that went like this. And then a company comes in, they buy into they get government funding, they buy more houses, which was great. Then they started taking the Section 8 and everything else. But that company is able to build properties like this, but they can't add so if they can't do this in this property, what can you get them to maybe pitch in? Because they're a big company. Why can't they?
So the question and comment is kind of around development across the city and kind of what's happening between and with private developers and then kind of seeing what's happening with the city of Tucson, the housing authority and development that is happening there. And the reference was to the Amazon Hotel and that new development, right? And so those are two very different things. I just want to point that out. Private development and the development within the housing authority, usually two very different, separate funding sources, processes, procedures, the whole deal, right? And access to capital sometimes. And so when it comes to private developers, we are in constant communication with them, usually from their end. They're reaching out to the housing authority and saying, hey, I get calls, and this is just for myself, I get calls weekly, hey, we are developing this new thing, we're opening, January of 26, we have 26 units over here. We'd love to work with your voucher program. So then what we do is we educate them on the voucher program because they don't have to, there's nothing in particular other than becoming kind of a vendor on our end saying, hey, this is our process, this is how the vouchers work, if they've never worked with the voucher program. And then anybody on the street, anybody holding a voucher is welcome to apply there and utilize that voucher there. And to that extent, on the housing authority side, in the last year, one of our major updates was to the fair market rents and our payment standards. And so we went from having one payment standard for the voucher program that was across Pima County and city of Tucson to breaking it down by zip code. And we have some higher rates in certain zip codes, sometimes lower rates in certain zip codes. And they reflect what that area's housing looks like and the pricing in that housing. So where before we may not have had the opportunity, if something goes up in a higher priced area where a voucher holder would not be able to afford it. In a lot of instances now that we've seen with the small area fair market rents and those changes, it's opened up quite a bit of opportunity. So there's partnership that's happening there and it will continue to happen within the housing authority as well as in the private industry.
Okay, and then the only other thing I want to make sure I clarify and ask is, I heard you say as long as everybody stays proactive in coming to you and making sure that their vouchers stay good, they won't be necessary, they won't get turned away. As long as they stay proactive and say nothing, a landlord can't just come kick them out. Is that right?
Correct. There's process, procedures and laws in place to
Okay.
make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, right behind you, sir.
I had called it Emilia, like 4 months. They put on my deposit for the dog, $150.
So it sounds like this is the personal question, so if you want to stay behind after, we'll kind of discuss that with you. Okay, one last thing from my assistant city manager.
So I apologize, I'm gonna leave. I do want to share something, a lot of people ask, and I just want to share this information. A lot of people ask, why do we not have more controls on how much they can charge rent or how much they can increase rent? Why can't the question around having more developers participate and help with affordable housing? Just know that the state has laws that prevent the cities from establishing requirements to provide some units more affordable or to require them to work with the affordable programs or limiting how much they can increase rent. Those are all limitations that we have to live or abide by because those are state statutes or laws that prevent us from requiring landlords to new developers to work with us or to limit the rent increases. So I just wanted to share that sometimes we are limited with what we can require new developments or landlords. So just wanted to share that news with you in case you wanted it. So thank you again, and thank you, Isaiah and Pennsylvania for all the great responses on this. So thank you.
Thank you. So real quick, before we kind of get into any last questions, right? Just to share, are there any last questions about any of the material that we covered today?
I just want to ask a question about rent control. Why can't we get it here?
I don't have an answer for that.
I just can't beside me. I can't
So the
understand.
question about rent control, that is a legislative question. I'm not sure. So, but.
I don't get
That's kind of what that's where the answer to that is.
I know.
So is there a difference between a voucher and Section 8? Or are they the same thing?
So the question is there a difference between voucher and Section 8? They are the same thing. So the technical term for Section 8 is housing choice voucher. but it's been known for a lot of years as Section 8. They are in one and the same. Thank you.
I threw a curveball at you today.
I know that Trump's gonna be introducing a lot of changes, whatever, I don't know what's gonna, we don't have to see that on 2026 costs. They're gonna have an MTW program, which can accept. And that's gonna be for DES, apparently, most programs, I was wondering if Section 8 would be involved with it.
So the question was about the MTW Moving to Work program. That is not something that's currently under consideration for the Housing Choice Program. Thank you. There's one question right behind you.
I was told that I've been on how the Choice Vouchers program, that I would be infiltrated into the regular Section 8. Will that happen?
So
How?
if you want to sit back after, we'll kind of answer that question, because that may get into more of your personal scenario. So if you want to just hold off after we close out, we can.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we got two more questions here.
Isaiah, if I may, I wasn't quite clear, there was a, in the back, about the funding issue. It was like, if we have it, we have it, if we don't, we don't, we'll let you know when we do, and you know, that one, do you remember that question? And so I guess all of us here would want to know, if we have a Section 8 voucher now, we're grandfathered in, they won't take it away unless you lose funding. Is that what that answer was?
So the question is about just kind of a reiteration of the question about funding from the federal government. That is always and will continue to be kind of a wait and see, right? Where depending on if level, we have not seen funding cut to an extent where it's like, hey, we have to move X amount of people off of the program or anything of that sort. And so, and there's no, and the talks in the Senate and in the House right now, aren't there. So they're not really discussing level funding.
I think that's important for everybody to know.
So yeah, so like I said, right now, it's business as usual. We're not anticipating anything crazy drastic or whatever the case is, but the comment that I made about, you know, you'll know, we know is because that's kind of, we're not in DC. If we're in DC, we might be a little privy to what's going on, but being so far away from it, we will know when we see the headline.
I just think everybody doesn't want to be left high and dry when we depend on it so much.
Well, it makes sense, but it is one of those scenarios where we will know when something comes up.
But it's also not happened yet, or ever, yeah.
All right, so we have one more question here.
No, City of Tucson housing under public housing is not Section 8. Public housing is city-owned property. We are the landlord.
So the question was, you know, and public housing, the same as Section 8, and then Selena saying, nope, they are separate programs, and kind of gave the explanation about the voucher program with Section 8. Public housing is its own entity there. But I know there were a number of kind of personalized questions. We will stay back. But with that, we will close out the resident advisory board meeting. We're going to thank you all for coming out. Just know, I want to let you all know these are always voluntary, but we love your attendance here. Definitely come in with your questions, your comments, your answers. And again, you can you can email hc@hcsignc.gov.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
It's all good.